Hey, it's Jared with State of Tech. Today we're going to take a look at cases for the Galaxy Fold 4. Now, cases are transforming this phone for me. I actually filmed my full review of this phone the other day, and I'm working on getting it edited and out to all of you, as well as a comparison between this phone and the Flip 4. Now, what's really interesting is that my use for this has changed based on using a case with it. When I got the phone, I didn't get cases yet. I hadn't ordered them. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with the phone for very long, but once I started using the phone and thinking about it, I decided to order a few cases, and so I ordered a few cases, as you can see here, and we're going to go through them, and I'm going to show you the pros and cons of each of these cases. These are all available on Amazon. There are more cases than what I chose. I just chose some of the best rated cases, and we're going to start out first with the case from Samsung. We're just jumping right out of the gate here with the best option, in my opinion, but we're going to look at others because each of these cases has something unique to it that we'll go through as we look at these. So feel free to jump around with the timestamps that are listed below. But first, we're going to take a look at the Samsung case. This is the silicone grip cover case, and they also have another case that is more suited for the S Pen. So looking at this case, you can see what sticks out about it is this hand strap, and that is the killer feature of this case. When you are utilizing this phone, certainly if you're just holding the phone up in front of you like a tablet and using it, you don't really need anything special. You probably don't even need a case on the phone. But if you are trying to use this phone on the go, you really need some form of support. And the hand strap on the back of the phone really helps out. Now, I can, hold this even with a little bit of a crease going on. I mean, I can hold it flat out. I just tuck a couple of fingers back behind the case. I can go left-handed with it as well, even though it kind of fits and feels a little bit better on the right hand. And you can see here, it just kind of goes partially over my hand, and I can still access the buttons on the side. But this provides a lot of security and stability to utilizing this phone. So if I'm wanting to use the phone opened, which I wasn't doing much at all when I was on the go because it's kind of awkward to use, and I feel like I'm going to accidentally drop it or damage the phone trying to hold it just by squeezing the phone itself. But with the hand strap on the back, I feel secure. It gets my hand off of the front of the screen, which often the front of the screen has lots of dust and it's just really kind of a fingerprint magnet when I have to rest my hand on it all the time. So this gets my hand off of the phone, off of the screen of the phone, and gives me some more security and stability. And it really transformed my use of this phone because I was using primarily the screen on the front, and the screen on the front is narrow and a little awkward to use. If you're primarily going to end up using this screen, the cover screen, you might as well just go with a standard traditional style phone and not worry about all of this additional thickness that the phone is going to give you. But with this case on there, I was just pleasantly surprised at how much functionality that adds for me, because now I can hold the phone, I have unobstructed view to the face of the phone without having to squeeze the phone and hold on to it. I feel like I have that security because as I rotate my hand around, the phone's not going to fall out of my hand unless I grip the front of the screen. There are many times gripping the front of the screen, I was accidentally deleting widgets, adding apps to the screen, opening apps, initiating the swipe gesture from the side of the phone. I mean, it was really just kind of an awkward scenario without having some form of a strap on the back of the phone. So I really like this. And you're probably thinking, okay, yeah, but can't this whole back half of the case just pop right off? Well, what Samsung did and what some of the other case manufacturers did is they put these little adhesive strips in there. They're very small, so they're not going to stick to your phone for good and become difficult to remove. But there are little adhesive strips in there that hold the case on the phone that add additional security. Obviously, this is not full protection. It's not going to protect your phone from everything. You know, there's the whole hinge here is protruding, and so if the phone was to fall on the hinge, we would hope that it would survive from that. There's face down protection here on the cover screen, so if you set the phone down on a tabletop, there is protection from that, and it's got a good thickness there. I would probably add a screen protector to the front of my cover screen just to add some additional security, and then you have some protection on the back around the camera module and all that stuff, especially from the lift that comes from the strap. Now, this doesn't sit flat anymore because you've got the strap here, and so I can kind of just shake the phone a little bit. It rocks a little bit, but face down, no issues at all. And then, of course, probably the one frustration is with this case, if you set the phone down, now it's just kind of floppy. I mean, it doesn't sit flat, and so it's not the best tabletop experience anymore with this case on it. And this is not something that you can easily detach with those little strips that are in there. You don't want to be taking this case on and off because then it's not going to stay on the phone as well. And so there are drawbacks there. However, this case is the first case that's added just real function, form and function for me with this phone, and made me think I could use this phone now as a primary device, not worrying about dropping the phone or hurting it as much, not being stuck using the cover screen because utilizing it with the screen opened, unfolded, is problematic. So I really like this case. It's going to be hard for these other case manufacturers to stand up to what Samsung has created here with this particular case. And as I said, they do have a case for the S Pen, which instead of it having the hand strap, it has a slot for the S Pen on the back. And so you lose that hand grip, which to me is the killer feature. So now we're going to look at a Spigen case. This is the Thin Fit. Spigen has a variety of different cases. You know, one of the things that I noticed first when I went to order all of these cases off of Amazon was just how expensive they are. Obviously, they're not going to sell, you know, bajillions of cases like they do with other phones. They're going to sell less, and there's a lot more going on with this particular phone, so there's a lot more cost involved. All of these cases I have already tried out. I did put them back in the box just for keeping them safe and keeping them clean, especially since they most of them have that little adhesive pad. This case did, and I already peeled that off. So let's go ahead and snap this case on like so. So we've got that. It's not completely snapped into place. There we go. And we'll go ahead and slide in the other side of the case. Sometimes it's a little tricky to figure out which way these go, just because of the design. And so we'll get this snapped in. So this particular case has a slot for the pen. All of the cases that have a slot for the pen on the side have it on the left side because you don't want to cover up the lock button or the volume rocker. And so to me, unless you are really going to be using the S Pen, this becomes kind of awkward to hold. It's awkward to hold when it's closed because you've got two different levels here. The case is taller right here than it is on the second level here on the right side of the phone. It's fine when you open it up. It's not that big of a deal. And the case feels good in the hand. It provides a little bit of edge protection all the way around. Not really any protection on the hinge, but it does provide protection cover screen down, and it also provides protection on the camera bump side. But it does not sit flat on the table. It rocks a little bit, and I'm not a big fan of that. But overall, this case is one of the more minimal cases. I'm not quite as minimal as the Samsung case, but if you factor in that it's got this strap on the back, then it's definitely more minimal than the Samsung case. So next we're moving on to the Unicorn Beetle. This is a large case that provides a ton of protection. This is definitely not going to be for everybody. I've reviewed this type of case for many other phones, and for this particular phone, this case is going to be really useful for those of you that are out in the field a lot. You are potentially bumping your phone a lot, or you've been cracking phones in the past, and you need a lot of protection. So we're going to go ahead and snap this case on, which is, there we go, got it on. And this also has a built-in screen protector. That's one thing that I do really like about this case is that it has the built-in screen protector for the cover side screen, not for the inside screen. So we'll go ahead and snap that on. You just want to make sure that you get the right side. It has a hole punch for the front-facing camera of the cover screen. So we'll go ahead and snap that in and slide it in. All these cases pretty much have that sticky strip on the inside, and so this one just required pushing a little bit harder because I already had that exposed. So what I like about this case is that it provides a nice rugged look to the phone. It provides ample protection all the way around the phone, with the exception of the hinge that's exposed. But you know, the more I think about it, the hinge is probably pretty durable. This could take a good hit and doesn't necessarily need covering all the way around it, even though there is one case that does provide that. So what's unique about this case is that it has a kickstand built into the back of it, which is okay if you're going to be looking at the cover screen in portrait mode or perhaps in landscape mode. Let's see how it feels when you open the phone up. So in portrait mode, opening the phone up, it's not going to do anything for you. But in landscape mode, and the phone struggles sometimes to open up completely flat. I think I just have to work the edges of this case just a little bit. I can look at it here, or perhaps even use it in a tilted mode, because you know there are apps that operate with the phone kind of in a half kind of clamshell almost style fold. So the kickstand is interesting. It's not necessarily something that I would use with this particular phone, but this phone also comes with a belt clip that allows you to snap the phone into place. So we're going to snap the phone right in, face in, so cover screen inward, providing protection from the cover screen coming in contact with anything. But you can also put it in the other direction, having the cover screen facing out as well. So if you're on the job site, if you are, you know, needing access to your phone, you like having a belt clip, but you need that extra protection, this is definitely going to be the case for you, because none of the other cases that we're going to look at, with the exception of the VRS Designs case, have this level of protection for the phone. And some people need that. Some people are breaking phones. You know who you are, and this case is definitely going to be the one for you. Their phone cases, this particular model, are typically available for pretty much all phones. I've reviewed this case a lot, and it's one of my favorites as far as extreme durability goes. So let's move on to the case from Hummix. This case is just their Fold4 case. I think they only have one particular model. This case was the one that I used the longest at first, because it was the first one that I ordered. And it's a thin fit case with kind of a smoky finish, so it doesn't completely block out all of the phone. You can just barely see through the back of it. And then of course it comes with a cover screen side as well. Let's go ahead and put that on, and boom. The one thing that I liked about this case is that they thought about kind of carving out a little bit on the opposite side so that it's easier for you to get your thumb in there. If you're using the cover screen, anything that blocks too much is going to be challenging. Some of those cases that have the S-Pen slot, it's a little bit challenging. You got to dig your thumb in there a little bit to unlock your phone, and that's unfortunate. So with this case, it was the first one that I used, and I thought, okay, cool. This case protects the phone. It's a minimal design to a case, and very simple, and it does get the job done. But for me, it didn't add really any functionality. It didn't help me hold the phone any better. You know, I felt like I was more protected against setting the phone down on a table, or if it was in my pocket, or maybe if I accidentally dropped it, but I didn't feel like there was anything else that I was getting. This little edge on the case is a little flimsy, and some cases have this. It's, you know, there's got to be a border there, but there's nothing for it to attach to, so it is a little flimsy. And if you're like me and you fidget with things, you'd be fidgeting with this all the time, and you'd probably eventually snap it. But this is the more minimal case that we're looking at today, with the exception of the Samsung case. minus the hand grip as we talked about earlier. So I like the Hummix case a lot because it is simple, it's clean, and it gets the job done, but it doesn't add any functionality or usability to the phone. Let's look at the VRS design, and then we'll finish off with the Torras case. Torras always has great cases, and I did enjoy utilizing that case for a little bit. So the VRS design case, as I mentioned, is the only case that has protection for the actual hinge, and that made this quite bulky. Let's go ahead and get this all put together. You have to pull back the hinge portion there and kind of snap the phone into place. I found the first time I thought I would slide it in, but that didn't necessarily help. It just snaps right into place, and then we'll close it. You can see now we've got like a magnetic cover that attaches here. And then we'll go ahead and add the cover screen portion as well and get that on, and then I'll just open it up and we'll kind of snap this into place, just making sure everything is in its place. So this adds a lot of bulk to the phone. Yes, it does protect the hinge, and that's great. Whether or not the hinge needs protection, I don't know. As we open this up, the hinge kind of, let's see if I can get this on camera for you. So as we open this up, the magnetic hinge cover just kind of slides to the side, and it's a little weird. I want to use it as a support. So I want to hold on to it and use it as a support to help me hold the phone, just as the first case, the Samsung case, does have that strap. So naturally I just want to grab onto this, but it's not, I don't think it's something that you would want to grab on. If you look here, I'm kind of just pulling on this hinge a little bit. And I think if I did that continuously for a month or two, this hinge would end up breaking or popping off or something like that. One of the things that I don't like is that when I open this, my hand is kind of on the hinge because that's naturally where my hand would go. So as I open this up, as you can see, this just kind of slides out of the way. And one of the things, you know, this case, this side isn't staying on very well either. I know some of these cases come with some adhesives, and this case came with a few extra things. It comes with adhesive pieces that I can use, and it also comes with a screen protector, which I thought was great. Screen protector for the cover screen. I would have to use all of these adhesives. I didn't want to use them because I thought I would test this case first. I wasn't too content with it, and so I didn't want to utilize the adhesives and get my phone stuck to it until I realized whether or not I would like the case. So you're definitely going to have to put the adhesives in place to keep the left half of this case on the phone. I do like the fact that they thought about cutting this out, so we've got nice room for our thumbprint. But I mean, this just adds, I would rather the phone, I mean, this is splitting hairs. I would rather the phone be larger than have so much to hold on to here. I just don't like this, and it's not very, I mean, it just doesn't feel very secure to me. So while I like the fact that they are protecting the edge here of the hinge, I don't necessarily like this case. And VRS Design, they've got a lot of great products. I've reviewed a lot of their cases for different phones before, but I'm not a huge fan of this particular case for the Galaxy Fold. Lastly, let's take a look at the Torras case. Torras makes some great cases, and this case really resembled the Hummix case to me. Not only because it has a similar box design, very similar, and the font on the stickers, there's lots of things that are very consistent there, so maybe these even come from a very similar company, but it has the smoky finish on the back side of the phone where the camera goes. So backside, smoky finish, and then it has a S Pen slot. And so we'll go ahead and pop this on, snap it into place, and close it up, and there we go. So we've got a S Pen slot, and with the S Pen, if the S Pen was in place here, I'd have a little bit of a challenge getting my thumb into the fingerprint. I'm kind of smashing my thumb in there to get the phone unlocked right now. It's not comfortable to hold because I don't have an S Pen in there, but even then the S Pen is still going to make it a little awkward to hold. If you are utilizing the S Pen, for sure, an S Pen slot on the side is going to be good. I didn't order the Samsung case that has the S Pen slot on the back, part of me thinks I would prefer to have the S Pen holder on the back because I could use it as a little bit of a ridge for my fingertips, and it would give me the ability just to kind of hold onto the phone a little bit better. Not as good as the case that has the hand strap, but nonetheless would probably give me a little bit of functionality there as far as being able to hold onto the phone better. So with all of that said, I definitely have to go back to the Samsung case, which you can actually extend out the strap here. So if I wanted the strap to be a little bit longer, I could pop this out and adjust the length of the strap, which is a neat feature. I think it's fine the way that it is, so I'm just gonna leave it snapped into place the way that it was and put the phone back in the case that I find to be my favorite. Definitely let me know what case you think is best down below based on what I've shared here. Ultimately, I make these videos because otherwise, what are you going to do? We have to order these cases and try them out and waste time and maybe decide we don't like them. Maybe stick with the case and just not be happy with it. I don't know. Amazon is great because they do provide free returns on a lot of these items, and so if you decide to purchase a case and try it out and you don't like it, Amazon's free returns for Prime members is an absolute great option. So I've got links to all of these down in the description below. Make sure to check out the links so that you can get access to those products on Amazon. Some of these come in different colors and different models, so make sure to check those out as well. All that stuff is linked below. If you found this video helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel here on State of Tech if you want to be notified when I put out new videos. But that's going to do it for today. Take care.